Gosh, I thought you just weren't listening and it was me. So good evening. This is an excited, chatty group tonight. My goodness. All those things they say about writers are either true or not true, depending on what you've heard. So we'll just give people a second to get their chairs. All right, let's get started, shall we? Good evening. My name is Shannon McNerney. I'm the executive director of this wonderful organization of Fishtrap, and I'd like to welcome you to this night 2 of the 36th annual Summer Fishtrap Gathering of Writers. So thank you for being here tonight. I have yes, thank you. Yes, congratulate yourself. I was going to ask a different question tonight. How many of you here tonight are not taking a week-long workshop? Could you raise your hands? Look at that, folks. Welcome. Thank you. Excellent. We make such a big deal out of our writers for some reason at a writing gathering, but I wanted everybody to see how much this organization means to the community, and thank you so much for you coming. I also want to ask, how many of you have never been to a Fishtrap thing at all and are just here tonight wondering what the heck's going on? You raise your hand. Yay! So at the end of tonight, you'll either know or you'll just kind of walk away going, what? All right. I also want to welcome all of the online folks that are joining us from the community tonight. I would ask them to raise their hands, but we wouldn't know. So thank you for being here tonight. I also, before we get started, as Mike mentioned last night, we've been blessed, and I want to say this in a really genuine way. Much like many other arts organizations during the pandemic, it was a terrifying time, and the folks I'm about to mention are part of the reason why Fishtrap is still here and why so many of the other arts organizations that we all value are still standing. So please, at the end of this, acknowledge these folks: the National Endowment for the Arts, the Kinsman Foundation, our own Oregon Arts Commission, the Miller Foundation, the Roundhouse Foundation. They are why we are here. So please thank them for us tonight. Thank you. You, of course, are a bigger reason why we are here, so know that we know that. I also want to thank tonight Wallowa Lake Lodge. They have wow, thank you, the Wallowa Lake Lodge. I want to thank Eastern Oregon University and their Masters of Fine Arts in Creative Writing program. How many of you students tonight? Raise your hand again. Yay! All right, thank you for being here. And also the Book Loft. And I want to say something about the Book Loft. Some of you, we mentioned this last night. They are donating 20% of the sales of the books this week that you buy here. They're giving back to Fishtrap, which is, talk about a wonderful community partner. I also wanted to mention to you, those online and those of you that want to go back and think about it, they also have a wonderful website, thebookloft.org, and you can buy these books from them and support, I think, one of the finest independent bookstores you will find anywhere, and they're wonderful partners and have been with Fishtrap since before there was a Fishtrap. So thank you to the Book Loft. I also want to thank again the Wallowa County Chamber of Commerce for their support, and Terminal Gravity again for not only did they donate those tents to us for the week, they actually came and put them up themselves and then said they're going to come back and take them down and bring them home. So if you see Natalie Millar and Dave and the crew at Terminal Gravity, yeah. Better yet, on your way out of town, stop by and see Natalie Millar and Dave. You won't regret tipping a glass for them. So thank you. So tonight we have writers from some folks you have come hopefully to know and love with Fishtrap. They are all Fishtrap veterans at this point. So we're going to hear from Janae Brown-Wood, from Debra Magpie Earling, and from Jamie Ford. And you get 2 Jamies this week, so this will be a teaser. And they're going to be reading some of their work. We're also going to do another drawing tonight, so stay tuned for that. And with that, shall we get started? What do you think? All right. So our wonderful Janae, who I think Mike mentioned again last night, stuck it through us with the pandemic and then came back. And she did a children's lit class, which we had never done before, and did it online, and then came back and has worked with our students. This is her second year working with grades 5 through 8. She's teaching a workshop called Exploring Story Genre Through Writing, and they met for the first time all together today, so that was pretty exciting to see them here. So Janae, Dr. Wood, is an award-winning children's author, poet, educator, and scholar. Her first children's book, Imani's Moon, which if you haven't read, I would recommend. It's lovely. Won the NAESP Children's Book of the Year Award and was featured, and I saw this online, Stephen Colbert's The Late Show. Check it out. It's great. And story time with the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Her second book, Grandma's Tiny House, Accounting Story, received a star review from the Publishers Weekly and won the CELI Read Aloud Book Award. And her third book, I don't want to tell them about this book because I know what's coming, so shh. That's a hint, yeah, thanks. It's a little Easter egg. It received some cool awards. Read about it later. Janae loves to write, bake, teach, and spend time with her husband, Catrell, and her daughter, Vivian. She also came here with her wonderful father, Lee, and sister, Erin. Please welcome my friend and wonderful writer, Janae Brown Wood, to the stage. So I want to start, before I introduce our next writer, I want to tell a little tiny story. Last night, when I was honored actually to get up and read to you, I talked about how our generations and our connection to this land is a big part of all of our stories, and talked about the fact that this land is the traditional and continues to be the homeland for the Nez Perce, the Cayuse, the Umatilla, and the Walla Walla. And as we talk about the role of indigenous folks in our history here in our land and the story of this place, it's been a hard road to navigate. I won't complain about what we've had to navigate. Believe me, it's not that, but knowing what to do and what the right thing is to do. And I want to acknowledge that when Fishtrap got started, telling the Nez Perce story was very much at the core of this. This organization was started by people who were intent, Alvin Giuseppe and Rich Juan Schneider and Kim Stafford, who were intent on telling that story. When Mike and I came between 8 and 10 years ago, we weren't sure how to do that. And we were a little bit lost. And as much as we tried, we failed. And I'm telling you this story because the next woman I'm going to bring up here on the stage tonight, along with C. Marie Furman, whom you heard about a lot last year, and the wonderful Ruby Hansen, who was a fellow that year, sat me down over dinner at Summer Fishtrap, and for about 45 minutes looked at me and said, "You need to do better." And I've told this story to them, I've told it to many people over the years. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. It was the best thing that ever happened to this organization. We still don't have it right, but the fact that we have 2 Indigenous women on faculty this year, that both of our outpost faculty this year are Indigenous women, are a direct result of us paying attention and continuing to learn those lessons. So before I bring up Debra Earling and read her official bio, I want all of us to acknowledge the bravery it took for her to trust me enough with that story, and to hopefully the patience that she and all our Indigenous writers and all of us have, that we'll continue to keep trying and do this better. So thank you to them. With that being said, I also asked her if I could make up her bio, and she said yes. So here goes. No. So Debra is a wonderful, wonderful writer, the author of The Ghost Story. She's actually teaching The Ghost Story, a guide to writing compelling prose this week, another one of our sold-out workshops. She's the author of Perma-Read and the brand new Lost Journals of Sacagawea. She's the director of the creative writing program I think she's retired now, of the creative writing program at the University of Montana. And she has won so many awards that if I stood up here and read them all, her reading time would be up. So, and apparently we did not play horseback beach volleyball together in high school, but I'll make that up next time. So please welcome the wonderful, wonderful Debra Earling to the stage. Thank you.
Generations. I look at these trees that surround us, these dark trunk trees, the great forest, the mountain behind us, the lake. Chief Joseph was chased from his beloved homeland here. And I often wonder when I'm here if he stood beside any of these trees. He must have. And the looking glass saw these trees and prayed before the people left. My great-great-great-grandfather was Charlo, the chief of the Flatheads. He was in the Bitterroot Valley, and when Chief Joseph came through the Bitterroot, my own grandfather had to turn him away as he was running with some women, old men no longer warriors, children who were hungry. They were starving and they were being chased by the cavalry. Not even a year later, my own grandfather was chased from his own beloved homeland in the Bitterroot. These stories are not easy. They're hard to face. I used to ask my students, are you responsible for the stories of your ancestors? And they would say, no, I'm not. That was years ago, generations. But when we think about being stewards of this land, when we think about being responsible, responding to issues of our time, we must respond, and we must be responsible for the actions of our ancestors and the actions of the past. And when I come to the Nez Perce land, when I stand in the place that was beloved to the Nez Perce and beloved to Chief Joseph, I am aware of my grandfather, and I'm aware that even though he was protecting his own people, that he too would be starving and leave in exile from his beloved homeland. That I carry that responsibility, and I carry that when I meet Nez Perce people, that my people, that my own ancestor was responsible for some of the tragedies that happened. I wrote the Lost Journals of Sacagawea in response to one particular thing, really, that happened during the Corps of Discovery. And it occurred to me that I had been blind to so many things. I myself thought that Sacagawea was a traitor, complicit in Manifest Destiny, and that she had brought so much devastation to the people of the West, the peoples of the West, that we're not living in wilderness, we're living in tended lands. They had taken care of the salmon, they'd taken care of the wildlife, they'd taken care of the bears, they'd taken care of all the animals. So not a wild place, but a tended and beloved place. The story that captured my attention when I was reading about Lewis and Clark and the expedition was that there were women that were given to the Corps because Native people were losing their power, and they thought that they could pass the power through their wives to their husbands. So they'd give their wives to men of the Corps and other men who were older so that they would go on, so that somehow that power would pass. One woman was given to Sergeant Ordway, and this is, in the journals in November of 1804. After that evening, she was stabbed and pummeled, and she arrived at, and it says within the journals themselves, not invented, but, and Clark kind of passes it over. He's worried that there'll be some trouble in Mandan Camp. So this woman ends up by the campfire, by the fire of the interpreter's campfire, who the interpreters are tending to her. And I thought, that wouldn't be Charbonneau, and that wouldn't be Lizette, that would be Sacagawea. I believe that Sacagawea was very young. I don't believe that she was 16 or 18 or 23. I believe that she was 13 at most, and carried a child. This is a story that captured me. It's called The Pummel Women. Otter Woman and I gather firewood. We build a fire and stand near. We drink hot, bitter coffee and visit. Wind skitters through Mandan. It is so cold, we wrap in buffalo robes and line our moccasins and with cattail fluff and rabbit fur. You're not big, Otter Woman says, and rubs my belly. I will make you buffalo marrow and bitter greens. I will make you thick black juniper tea. We have not seen buffalo for days. The people fear buffalo will not return. Otter Woman whispers stories. She wishes to live with Alive beside Arrow. She wishes to have his babies. She wishes to leave Charbonneau, a man who plagues us. Clark says it is 20 below. It is the season babies freeze in mothers' wombs. Snow squeaks like a white man's saddle beneath our feet. Thin moon cuts sky. We throw wood on the fire. We close in together and see into flames. Does Clark see 20 white men below river ice? Down, 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 down where Mandan once lived. Will spring come when the last white men surface from the dark below? We hear high laughter, devil titter, coyote laugh, laugh, cry. Smell rises from camp, mouse sniff, blacksmith clink, blood lick from a white man's knife. Animal scutters past, my scalp tingles. Corn Necklace calls out to us from darkness. My sister, she shouts. Many Teeth walks slowly beside Corn Necklace. She limps, cradles her ribs, and then stops. She steps again so slowly she moves little. Her head steams like boil pots. Her face rains sweat. I smell sting blood, copper kettle stench. I go to her. Corn Necklace and I hold up Many Teeth, but as we walk, I feel hot wet soak my side. I look behind and see blood trail. I send Otter Woman for Clark and for blankets, and she returns with only Clark's medicine bag. We sit Many Teeth down by fire. She hisses with pain. Her jaw is spoiling meat, black, raccoon black, blood settle black. She becomes old horse with rattler-bitten face. Her chest bruised the color of smoked suns. My husband beat me, she chatters through broken teeth. He stabbed me so many times, I cry for my children. We pack her wounds. Her eyes flitter white. All around her blood darkens snow. Man smitters and sneaks toward us like we are deer herd. Hard snow cricks beneath his footsteps. Broke leg cannot slink on anyone. Corn Necklace stands to shield Many Teeth. We roar at him. We lurch at him. We kick. My robe staggers heat. I flame so hot I can melt more snows than fires. Otter Woman grabs long driftwood and beats Broke Leg. We surround him screaming. We push him. We grab his knife. He cannot get past us. He whimpers like a baby. Clark hears the commotion. He is too late. We have driven Brokeleg back to darkness. We will chase him from our lodge, Cornnecklace says. We will scratch him with poison arrows. We will tie him up with elk rope and drag him to river. We will whip him like a dog. Clark backs away from us. Yes, Cornnecklace tells him in Hidatsa, you should go or we take you. You brought this to our women. You brought ugly men to our camp. Fire hisses and wood drops into 100 sparks. I want to say I'm so enjoying my group of students, of writers. My good friend Kevin Head is here, and he's a wonderful storyteller and writer, and he is writing again, and that is such a pleasure. And I want to give a shout out to Russell Ford, who published today a story, The Cape in the Hopper. So if you could look that up, there's many good things happening, and I'm grateful to all of my students who are working so hard, and I'm grateful to be here. I'm grateful to be in the community of Fishtrap that has gone on for so many generations. And I was here when the late William Kittredge was here, and I had the privilege of being near him and teaching with him and calling him my friend. I also had the privilege of being with Pramila Jayapal when she taught here, and now she has gone to fiercely protect so many rights in Congress, so many women's rights, so many civil rights in Congress, and I'm so honored and pleased that I was able to meet with her and that so many of us were able to be with her. When I think of generations, I can't help but thinking of Ursula Le Guin. And I'll tell you something which I find just so incredible is that I don't know how many lunches and dinners and breakfasts that I sat with Ursula Le Guin. And do you know, not once, not one time did she mention her writing, or did we talk about her writing, or did I ask her questions about her stories or her writing, but every day in her company was a story. And she'd talk about all of the people at Fishtrap and the things that she admired, the birds she saw that morning, and how grand the day was. I hope you're having grand days here too. Thank you.
So two things, she had me so enthralled, I was sitting in the back, and the second thing is if I try to run like Midlow, this is not good for any of us. So let's, I mentioned the short leg thing. Yeah, okay, it's real. So thank you so much, Debra. Thank you for also evoking the generational history of Fishtrap in a way that few people could. So thank you so much again. So I'm going to take a little pause here. We've been talking the last couple of days about our Fish Trapper program, and as I was sitting back there before, as everybody was coming in, I think 3 people signed up to be Fish Trappers, so welcome. One of the things I wanted to kind of restate about why we're doing this program, some of you were asking me this week about our new space. And some of you, can you raise your hand if you've seen it? It's pretty spectacular. Yes, welcome. So we moved into a new space this past year. And it's been amazing because we can give the space to the community as well. We have a room now that will hold 100 people that we can make available to other organizations. We can host our own events there. We can do the Big Read and Winter Fish Trap and all this in this space. One of the goals we had for this program with Fish Trapper now is we thought if we could just get enough donors that would help us out monthly with the Fish Trapper program, it would pay for the space, which means we have more ability to create more programming for people across the country and across our own community, more importantly to us right now. So not that you're all lovely, but we love our Olallie County folks. So I'm going to bring